And we're live. It's a total Eclix of the heart, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an eclipse today. We got new rules. It's going to be an exciting day today. And I am joined on this super excited day by Bizarro World Tom.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello, Mr. Michael Payne. Oh, my gosh. That's the face we got, eh?
Hi. How are you? That's my Match.com face.
Oh, oof. And Megan is blind, right? It's
totally.
It's not an insult towards her. And Jay, once again, without camera this week, but that's okay. Most of the time, these guys are just going to be little icons on the bottom of the screen, as you'll see. If you guys are live with us in the chat, I usually put a little bit there. I'm running behind, very behind schedule. I'm lucky to have a shirt that is not drenched in sweat right now. I also almost died on my bike on the way here. So if you have any questions while we're live and you're in the chat, put in big capital letters question before your question so that we can catch it in the chat. If you're Patreon or patron and happen to be in the Discord, ping us in that little section called Trolling the Metal Lab. Because, you guys get your own special room because, pay. Without further ado, something happened today, guys, in the world of Heroclix. I would call it monumental, sizable.
It's definitely game-changing.
Colossal even. Yeah, some new rules came out. So we're going to try to talk as much about this as we can. We may not be able to hit the previews that we want to hit. We'll see. So, but we're going to get right into it. Some of these rules, the guys here are going to kind of be picking up as they go because they did literally come out at like 2:30 in the afternoon when the moon was in full eclipse. So let's not kid ourselves.
Some of us came straight from work.
Yeah. But what I'm going to try to do today is isolate, and we'll breeze through powers that mostly don't change. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth of powers that do have notable changes. And some of the more, some of the things that we've already talked about may just be quickly glossed over too, because we have spoken about the early notes that WizKids released prior to this. So without further ado, this is the last you'll see of my face for a little while. Because here, ladies and gentlemen, is a new Powers and Abilities card. You can find this on the Heroclix.com website. So
yeah,
I don't have special access or anything. This is available to the public. If you want to read along with us, that's awesome too. And we'll go from there. All right. So we're going to start with the speed powers and breeze through the quick ones close very quickly. So look, Flurry is basically the same thing except the new wording. Close is basically the same wording as close combat action. Flurry works.
One thing on Flurry, though, it doesn't have, say, damage depletion modifier is ignored.
That's another note that I wanted to get into a little later on. But hey, the rulebook doesn't seem to have rules for the damage depletion modifier.
Oh, maybe it doesn't exist.
Maybe it doesn't exist anymore. Maybe they've gotten rid of enough of the things that it caused problems with. All right. Next up, Leap Climb. A little bit more smooth movement. But here we go right here. Breakaway +2. Move up to your speed value with the move action. So nope, Leap Climb is when you specifically use this action. Also, Elevation does not affect adjacency when choosing targets for a close attack. A lot of people didn't know. That's always been there.
It's always been the thing.
Always
the same, and it still sucks. Carrying on.
Phasing, same thing, different symbols. Move action, ignore a bunch of stuff. Here's something that's changed. Earthbound Neutralized. This character can't use improved movement, improved targeting abilities, or willpower. It doesn't no longer changes size. So if you were a giant, the last set of Earthbound Neutralized rules that we got, you'd shrink to normal size. Or if you're tiny, you grow to normal size. So you lose the connotation of I was a giant, I now have Earthbound, I can now be carried. It's a little bit of a change. It's not a massive change, but Tom, overall?
Well, I don't quite understand why they would take that piece of it away. I mean, that was kind of how Earthbound Neutralized was used thematically within dial design. So it seems like an odd choice. I guess I don't off the top of my head because, again, I am seeing these kind of for the first time. It doesn't immediately occur to me as a good or a bad decision, but it's a little bit of a perplexing one given the way in which the power has been used thematically. That's all I really have to say.
All right. Mike?
I mean, it's very, very similar, but yeah, the giant size thing is strange. And I mean, yeah, you are taking away any abilities, like any special movement abilities that would be there as a result of being giant. but why not the size?
Jay?
I don't think it matters that much because I really can't think of any giants in Modern that have Earthbound or Colossals.
We're not just thinking Modern here.
Yeah, but yeah.
The game at large.
My main takeaway is that characters that have willpower at the end of their dial and and have Earthbound kind of just got really screwed. I hope that gets errated. I don't know about anything in Modern, but I know I played Jewel competitively and she had that. So I hope they are like, oh, that was not supposed to be how that was designed. So overall, it's give and take.
There's another big take that we got to think about too in the world of Jakeems and Goblin Kings, and I guess it wasn't very clear when I mentioned this. You note it doesn't take away the flight symbol either.
No, it doesn't.
So your flyers that are Earthbound can still not be carried.
Yeah.
So that little trick that we all tried to we some of us were guilty of using, myself.
I use it all the time.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah. So that's gone now. All right. So next up, charge. Still can't be knocked back. Still have your speed. Still a power action, and then you get a close at no cost. Note this is not as a free action. So anything that triggers as a free action won't affect the attack portion of charge or running shot because it is specifically at no cost. I guess that's about it. But and Nathaniel in our Discord also mentioned you can still carry when you're Earthbound.
That's true.
It's worth noting. Thank you very much, Nathaniel, for that.
Thanks,
mind control. Now, we saw this change and then change again. Close range, minimum range 4. When a close range attack, make a close range attack instead of normal damage, a hit character have speed and becomes friendly to your force and may in either order move and or make an attack, then it reverts force. So we saw this. It no longer deals point damage. I think we've been talking about it for a while. Now that we've had a chance to have it settle. Tom, what do you think of the new mind control?
I don't prefer it, but at least it's easy. I feel like it will make the game go faster.
Yep. All right. Mike?
Yeah, I think that was the point, is to make it go faster because, I mean, there's less utility involved with it now because you used to be able to choose somebody and use their abilities based on what those abilities would be, not necessarily their maximum damage potential.
Jay?
It's good that it settles a lot of the fringy kind of things, like, no, if I use you once per game, what happens? All that nonsense that was ridiculously rules annoying. But essentially giving any character you're mind controlling a running shot or a charge is pretty cool. Although, yeah, you do lose the power potential of powers, but it's another give and take. I'm okay with it.
Okay. My only question, and I feel like there are still some powers that have passive things, such as Force Blast, which I'm looking at a couple of powers below, which still gives knockback and other things like that. Are those still going to be in effect? I feel like they will be.
They will be, yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
All right. Next up, Plasticity. Breakaway +2. Adjacent opposing characters get Breakaway -2. Adjacent opposing characters of the same size or smaller can't use improved movement, double circle arrow through, which is can move through or past. And they also can't automatically break away if they're the same size or smaller. There's a notable missing part in here, and that is the stopping movement portion of it, which will come into another power later on.
Well, it does.
All the time, yeah.
You stop the improved movement that lets you move past outside of ignores characters, which worked before.
Yeah.
This is
But
basically
what you're missing is it doesn't completely end the movement, because 2 or 3 powers from now that becomes important.
Yeah.
Well, hypersonic speed still would work even if plasticity was worded exactly the same, because the move and the attack are separate things.
Kid's got a point.
Yep.
Well, no. On the old hypersonic, if your move ends, you never got a chance to make your attack.
Right, but I'm saying it doesn't matter. Plasticity is the same, just new language. New hypersonic wouldn't care about the wording, even old wording.
Yeah, probably not.
Anyway.
Plasticity is a little bit more easier worded.
It also, I like that it clarifies that improved movement characters does work, because I know there was a lot of question. That was one of those things that people didn't seem to know. So that's good.
Yeah. Improved movement characters doesn't care about your size. The character doesn't exist for the purpose of all things in general when moving. But yeah, mostly same, just slightly easier wording. Force Blast, same, just new wording. Power, roll d6, knockback, and the passive knockback is still there in general. Sidestep, free action, or free, move up to 2 squares. Done. Hypersonic. Now, this is a constant breakaway of +2 at all times. Breakaway. So yeah, breakaway +2 at all times, not just when you're using hypersonic. You can now give a power action, half your range, use improved movement, ignore or move through or past characters, which was originally just a double circle one. That doesn't exist anymore anyway. But you also get passenger 0, which means you cannot hypersonic and carry. Move, then make an attack, then move up to your speed value minus the number of squares just moved. So yeah. Mike, what are your thoughts on everything new about hypersonic? I know we kind of saw this before, but
yes, I feel very much the same as I did previously, and that is that I don't like it versus the old hypersonic. I don't like the fact that you can't carry guys, and I don't like how they've broken it down into these different pieces. And I understand that was originally, and still it is intended to get around plasticity to a certain degree, but I like the fact that plasticity actually did something in that way.
All right, Jay.
Yeah, I feel like it's a never give and take because you lose hypersonic super strength and you lose, and it's a little more complicated with the moving and not moving and moving. But yeah, plasticity doesn't just stop it. I know that would be kind of an annoying thing in competitive where it's like, oh, I made a mistake, and then your opponent will be like, oh, well, too bad. But it's still within their right. So I think overall the give and take, it's Superman fans are going to be annoyed, including me, but I think overall the trade-offs kind of balance it out.
Tom?
If it wasn't for the no carry, I think I'd actually pretty much be cool with it. It's the no carry part that really kind of bugs me. I love the fact that you get out the breakaway +2 even when you're not specifically using hypersonic speed. That seems very appropriate to most characters that have hypersonic speed. So that's my thought.
I'm gonna have to be the guy who actually kind of likes everything about this, including the carry characters. The carry characters are stupid in the first place. How many instances in a comic book has somebody been super flying, super fast, and then thrown a punch while rescuing the damsel while carrying them? Doesn't really happen if you think about it, right?
I don't know why you draw that fairly arbitrary line against any other.
Well, you gotta understand is the design of the game has to some degree follow the theme of the game, right?
Yeah, I would argue the same of Charge then.
Right, and I also agree that Charge shouldn't be able to carry, but you know, that's the next thing they can go ahead and deal with. All right.
Yes.
Next up, stealth is exactly the same. Nothing has changed about this. Running shot, same as charge. Once again, note that the range attack is at no cost, not a free action. That'll come into play eventually when somebody triggers on free actions. Blades, claws, fangs. When this character hits and would deal normal damage during a close action, you may roll d6. If you do, deal damage equal to the result instead of normal damage, but it now also comes with a minimum result if this character's printed damage -1. That's printed damage, so no perplexity or getting extra damage out of anything. But yeah, Jay, what do you think of the new Blades Claw things?
The minimum makes up for the fact that you can't prob it anymore. It's basically as good.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Tom?
I've always thought, like, I'm in the minority here, but I've always thought Blades, Claws, Fangs was too good. And now it's arguably better. I mean, Prob is worse, but Blades itself is better. So I don't really mind that much because I never had a problem with it per se, but I kind of wish that they had found some way of reining it in a little bit for those who have a 1 damage and roll a 6. But anyway, neither here nor there.
Yeah, Blades is still, with this, Blades actually, in my opinion, becomes undercosted. Because it's already kind of a low-cost ability due to the randomness, but now the randomness is reduced if you have, say, a 3-4 damage and you're using Blades. So it's kind of the way I see it anyway. Mike, did you have anything you want to add on to that? Or?
Oh, no, I agreed with what Jay was saying. That was pretty much my summary of it as well.
All right. This is one of the bigger changes that we saw ahead of time. Energy Explosion, range. It's a range action for those of you still in the old mindset. Make a range attack, and all other characters adjacent to an original target also become targets. Hit characters are dealt 2 damage instead of normal damage. Very cool. It is its own specific range combat action, so you don't have to worry about the combination of things like Psychic Blast, etc. And when we get to the new wording of Precision Strike, it's not going to work with it anyway for the most part, although I might be wrong. I didn't read that one in depth. But yeah, that's the new Energy Explosion. Tom?
I like it. It's funny. Energy Explosion has never been perfect, and it still isn't. There's a better version of Energy Explosion out there, but I like this. I didn't like the last few years where Energy Explosion was way too tied to the number of targets you happen to have on the character. It's still better when you have more targets, as perhaps it should be, but now it's not, completely meaningless if you have less than 2 targets, as it has been for the last 2 or 3 years, or ever since the rules changed that made it the way it was. So I don't mind it. I thought it was a bit overpowered in the last change, so I like the fact they've reined it back.
Mike?
See, I don't mind the damage limitation on it, but I do mind the fact that you can't couple it with penetrating Psychic Blast any longer, right? I mean, the fact that it's 2 damage and so many things, negate that damage makes it really, really much worse than it used to be.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, I also thought that it was really overpowered when you had triple targets penetrating. So the fact that it gets better for 1 target, same for 2, more or less, and worse for 3, pretty much balances out. It's going to be more. It's one of those powers that's gotten much more thematic, where it's not like you deal 500 damage to one character and then 1 to every other one.
Yeah.
So
remember the Ricochet?
Yeah, it's more even now. I think it's more streamlined. It's easier. They got rid of area of effect. It's just overall, it's fine.
I did like the initial target taking the full damage of the attack, because that kind of felt like a rocket launcher coming at somebody, where the main portion of the rocket launcher or the grenade or whatever you're envisioning an Energy Explosion being the most damage, and everything else just kind of being a little less. But I kind of like how this reads, and it just kind of does everything to everybody and makes everybody happy in the end. All right, next up, everybody's favorite game solver, Pulse Wave. Range, half range, ignores characters and can shoot adjacent to, and outside of adjacency from characters. Other characters within range can't use powers or abilities for this action. Note that's the first part of it now. No more of this, if you can't draw a line of fire to him, you can't Pulse Wave him.
Right.
It's just once you're in the range, that's it. You're done for. Make a range attack targeting all characters, at least one of which must be opposing, within range and line of fire using their printed defense values. So even if you subtract defenses down with Perplex, you're still just getting the printed defense value. If more than 1 character is targeted, each hit character is dealt 1 damage instead of normal damage.
Now, this is pretty cool. I like the fact that it's a simpler version of Pulse Wave, but I just wonder, so there's no more area of effect, and that means that when you're knocked back into a wall, you can still reduce that, correct? Based on what's on your dial.
Well, other characters within range can't use powers or abilities for this action. So once you're knocked back, it's still part of the same action.
Yeah, it will still be covered by it, you think? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so for the most part, if you actually read it out, it works in almost exactly the same way as it used to. It's just a little less wordy and takes a little bit more of that, the printed defense values, so you don't have to worry about these outside of the area perplexes or defend coming from outside. It's hard printed defense values, no powers during the action. It's very much the same, just easier to blanket the area with nothing is happening special. Jay, anything you want to? Streamlined,
easier to understand. It's good. No more. Oh, I can't Pulse Wave Loki because reasons. It's easier. It's good.
Tom?
This is obviously evidence that I should be rereading the rules, so it's timely that we just got a new book for me to read. But are traits considered abilities?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking. Yeah, I think it's cool. Streamlined. I'm down with it.
And you're good there, Mike, too?
I already commented on it, didn't I?
Yeah, okay. It was a little bit of question back and forth. That's why I want
to make Pulse Wave.
I like having a dialogue.
I already had my dialogue. I don't have any other opinions.
We know that Pulse Wave is close to your heart, so it's worth making sure we get your full.
Yeah, no, I think it's ultimately a positive change, and the fact that it none of that none of that Loki shenanigans exists anymore is really good.
You know, for all my complaining I used to do about Pulse Wave, I have to take back a lot of it lately because Pulse Wave does solve a lot of the problems that we're all complaining about in the meta lately. So, anyway, next up, Quake, close, knockback. Make a close attack targeting all adjacent opposing characters. If more than one character is targeted, each hit character is dealt 2 damage instead of normal damage. Guys, if you single target Quake, you do full damage.
Yeah,
I know. I got a boner when I read that.
Oh, man.
I know, right?
I distinctly remember a Superman of the shifting focus variety now getting really good with this.
What about all the Hulks that do their full movement?
All the Hulks
There's a lot of Hulks like that.
It's Hulk smash one man. Oh, this is so good. Nathaniel jumped in the Discord saying it's finally become a close range pulse wave.
Yeah, it's true.
Now, it does very specifically target all adjacent opposing characters. So I do believe Giant Reach. Sorry, you're not getting any extra reach out of Quake.
Right.
But it's still so strong.
It's an improvement.
Do we all agree that Quake is just so good now?
Well, Quake is worth using now.
I must admit, I do like it a lot. It's a positive change. Every time, and this is now, like, it's funny that Quake is right next to Pulse Wave because they're both powers that have the little rider of when more than one character is targeted, then do something different than you would otherwise do. And I always kind of get in my mind a flashing red alert that says game balance alert going off, which kind of hurts the thematic element of it, in my opinion. I've never really gotten why Pulse Wave and now why Quake does that from a making it feel like a comic book perspective, but making it more effective as a game, obviously, it has it's self-evident why both those powers work the way they do. And so I'm totally down with New Quake.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I like that they took away the clause that says 2 knockback no matter what, because that always seemed really weird. Like how you could reduce it and still get knocked back 2 squares. That was always really funky, and I think everybody pretty much forgot. So bye to that.
Oh, I never forgot.
How'd you get so funky?
All right, next up, and we talked at length about this one, I'm sure. Super Strength. Knockback during close attacks. Very carefully worded this time because there was a little bit of question. And I think they just said knockback initially. I might be wrong, but it's knockback during close attacks. This character can pick up and hold heavy objects. We all know the new pickup rules, which are out there, down there, in the bottom part there. It's light objects can be carried by anybody. Does anybody have anything to add to what we've already said about this, Mike?
Well, knockback. Now that's a key phrase, which is a great addition to the language as well. Actually, key phrase. Is it a may use or a can use?
All knockback, if it comes with the power, seems to be. I think the ruling is that they are now optional.
That's good. That's very good.
Yeah.
It's the same as passive Force Blast is now.
Yeah.
Except that they took away the period, so you can't have Superman with laser vision making people get knocked back. So that's good.
All right. Next up, Incapacitate is basically the same, a close or range. Make one of those types of attacks. Hit targets are dealt given an action token. If they've already had 2 action tokens, deal penetrating damage. Psychic Blast, range, penetrating damage. So good. All right, Smoke Cloud. There's a bit of a change on this one. Power, minimum range value 4. Place up to 6 hidden terrain markers within range, each adjacent to at least one another, and at least one marker must be within line of fire. Opposing characters occupying a marker modify attack by -1 at the beginning of your next turn. Even if this is lost, remove them. So, originally, Smoke Cloud would not give you the -1 if you could see through hindering, such as a Superman team ability, or ignore hindering for line of fire. That's now gone. If you're in a Smoke Cloud, you get -1 attack. And I think that's one of the biggest ones, in addition to the fact that smoke clouds and barriers just linger now, even if you go with the powers. Yeah.
That's so good.
It's pretty cool.
Like, seriously, I mean, when you leave the room after you farted, it's still there.
In fact, Mike, you must be dealing with the one I left behind like 3 months ago.
It's like nuclear fallout way.
Tom, what do you think?
It's great. I mean, it's an improvement on a power that needed improvement. By the time we're celebrating the Heroclix 55th anniversary, if they keep on slightly incrementing up Smoke Cloud, then eventually I might actually want to use it.
Oops, I went and clicked on the wrong thing there. Sorry, guys. Open the Discord server by accident. I was saying to the Discord on my phone while we're fuddling around in here. Also, a lot of people are wondering, oh my gosh, Incapacitate changed. No, Incapacitate never dealt unavoidable damage. It always dealt penetrating damage when they had 2 action tokens.
Yeah.
Our RTF pack.
RTF pack.
All right. Jay, sorry, was there anything you wanted to add on to Smoke Cloud, or are you good?
I like that with New Outwit being a can use, they basically took away the confusion of, oh, if I can't use your Smoke Cloud or whatever, does it go away? Another change that's just making it easier to understand rules wise. Just overall, we're only about halfway through, and it definitely feels like a lot of this is just the same stuff, but just much better clarified. I'm very, very happy.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. Next up, Precision Strike. When this character attacks a single character, damage taken from the attack can't be reduced below 1, and the target decreases its D6 roll for super senses by -1.
Oh, yeah.
So Precision Strike has been slapped so hard.
I'm down with that.
It's a welcome slap, honestly.
Yeah.
The pink powers needed a little throttling in some cases.
It was too darn good.
Yeah.
A much needed kind of nerf to a power that was great to see, but a little too strong in its initial format. Jay, anything you want to add on the Precision Strike before I just throw in a rules thing that's really neat that I found out?
Good riddance to ridiculous Precision Strike. I really like, in addition to just not nerfing super precisions entirely, it makes more thematic sense, because you really can't, if you're Bullseye chucking 3 things, you're not precision striking. That's something else. So, yeah, thematically better, balance is better. Just great job.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we move on to the next power, which has also been vastly nerfed, did anybody happen to catch the new rule for critical hits?
They can't be evaded.
They cannot be evaded.
I did see that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many of my critical hits have been super sensed away or anything like that. They now hit. Oh, it feels good.
Yeah.
And so now everybody has Precision Strike so long as you can roll double 6s.
I kind of wish that you couldn't prob crits too.
Yeah, but prob needs some potency level.
Yeah, because it's been really nerfed heavily.
Yeah.
We'll see that in a second.
All right. Next up, Poison. Free. If this character hasn't been moved or placed this turn, deal 1 damage to all adjacent opposing characters. It still sucks based on what they were going to be changing. Guys, do we all agree on that?
Yeah.
All right, next up, Steel Energy. Now, this is an important change in wording that you have to be very careful when you're reading this. When this character hits with a close attack, after resolutions, heal 1 click if 1 or more opposing characters were damaged by that attack. Sorry, Flurry. Nice knowing you. You don't work with Steel Energy anymore. All right.
That was a pretty rare thing that people would do, though.
It was, but it was annoying when it happened.
Yeah.
Also, if 1 or more opposing characters. Remember all those times we tried to get Quake on characters with Steel Energy?
Yeah. Carnage. The old Carnage from Web of Spider-Man.
Peace out. Yeah, so that's all kind of happened to Steel Energy. I mean, Steel Energy was always kind of what it is now, but it's just kind of a one-at-a-time thing at this current state. The power is what it is, in my opinion. Not a massively hurting change, because if you have Steel Energy, you either use it or you don't. This is kind of how it goes, right? Yeah. So, anybody want to make a point otherwise, or?
It's another, because the whole after resolutions thing, another good rules clarification of, if I hypersonic and I steal energy and I lose hypersonic, what happens? Blah, blah, blah. So just another one of those. Good. It's basically clear.
All right. All right. Who's ready for a ninja change that nobody saw coming?
Yeah.
Telekinesis.
I like ninjas.
It's 2 different power actions. First power action, minimum range 6. For line of fire or range attacks, you can shoot out of base. Pick up an object, light or heavy, within range and line of fire, then give a ranged object action at no cost, or place it in a square within range and line of fire. That seems pretty simple, right? Nice, easy wording on the object action.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. I mean,
not convinced it's really that much easier, but okay, go ahead.
Well, here's the thing: is now stealth works against it. If I'm reading this correctly.
Yeah.
Because you have to make a range object action against the target, so none of this obscure. I'm placing it in the spot, which means I get to make an attack. You either see the character, you don't. You're shooting with an object, basically, or you place the object in a square within range and line of fire, which happens to be a minimum range of 6, unless you have a higher than 6 range.
So if they're standing on the object, you'd still pick it up and thus be able to see them? Could you do that now? Or can you do that now?
Yeah. That's what it seems like.
You used to be able to, I know, but I was making sure. Yeah,
it looks fine to me.
Yeah. But then the second power action, minimum range value 6 again. Place 1 target single base character within range and line of fire into another square within range and line of fire. That character must be within 6 squares and line of fire of the target's current square. If the target is an opposing character, first make a ranged attack, and the hit character is then placed instead of normal damage. Characters placed by this power can't use telekinesis this turn. Guys, we can TK giants.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
We can TK Dr.
Circumstantially, but yes. You can TK Devil Dinosaur who really needs it.
Yep. But it is a vastly reduced value of 6. Now...
Well, maybe. Maybe it's an improved value.
I also want to point out for everybody who is worried about the interaction between Jean Grey and the ID cards, there's a change in the ruling and the timing on ID cards. The ID cards are no longer limited to the beginning of the turn.
Right.
So that's what I had a feeling would happen.
Yeah,
so,
now everyone is Jean Grey. They can all take it before you do.
Exactly. Everybody can Jean Grey somebody forward, and then they can take the action, the power action, to bring out an ID card. And I think they also removed the limitation on having no action tokens. So, ID cards got equal parts.
That's a big bump, man.
That's a big bump. Oh, man, there's so much you can do with those now. Anyway, so telekinesis gets a bit of a range hit unless the character happens to have higher range.
Yeah.
It does no longer break the rules of stealth. Tom, your thoughts on the new telekinesis?
It's not that different. I'm fine with it. I don't have a strong opinion on it.
Mike?
Yeah, same.
Jay?
Riveting commentary here, guys.
The -2 is...
Hey, I shook my head. I emoted. All right.
Just remember, you're a thumbnail right now on our fan screens.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Yeah, the -2 is notable, but you can still perplex it up. So you can totally... Jean Grey comes with 6, if I recall correctly. So if you want Zatara, her range up, that works still. And I did double check on the ID card thing while we were talking, and it seems like the no action token thing is just gone.
Man, those things are going to be so strong now. Yeah. You can now push to ID card.
Indispensable, man.
Oh,
hey,
man.
they're already my favorite thing. Do they really need to be any better?
I'm still going to use them. Nothing's stopping me. All right. We're moving into the defense world. We start with super senses. Guess what? You evade on a 5/6.
Great.
When this character would be hit, you may reroll evade. Toughness, reduced damage by 1, still the same. Okay, here's one. Defend. Adjacent friendly characters may replace their defense value with this character's printed defense value.
Mm-hmm.
Printed. So no more of this chaining defends that I've seen in the past. This is also going to come into effect when we talk about the new team abilities, guys.
I thought it was printed before.
I thought it
was unmodified.
Oh.
Yeah. Replacing is not a modification, apparently. Anyway,
yeah, but replace and modify, so you can still modify it afterwards.
You can modify it afterwards, but you're still using the printed defense of the original thing. This is actually more important when you get to the Defender's team ability and the JSA, which are also worded like this now. Whine about it, Jay.
Jay and his breath. All right.
Sorry, Jay, what do you think of the new Defend and, as a result, the JSA and...
I think Defend it's basically almost, it's whatever. It's nearly the same level. The whole JSA thing, while you can't do a whole conga line of JSAers, it settles so much of the current rules questions. I'm okay with it. I just had so many questions because we had defenders sealed for Canadian Nationals this year. When I was judging, it was like, oh god, how does this? I don't know. Just do whatever you want. You're probably still okay.
All right. Next up, combat reflexes, energy of shield deflection. They're the same.
Yep.
Barrier, minimum range value of 4. Place up to 4 blocking markers in clear squares within range. Each adjacent to at least the other one, and one other marker must be within range be within the line of fire. At the beginning of your next turn, even if this is lost, remove them. Same, except that whole smoke cloud thing. We're all still kind of cool with
slightly better. Yeah,
slightly better. All right, Mastermind. When this character would be hit by an opponent's attack that deals damage, you may choose an adjacent friendly character that wouldn't be hit by this attack and that is less points. Okay, there's a lot of important words here, so let's pay very close attention to them. Yep. Let's start from the beginning. When this character would be hit by an opponent's attack that deals damage, you may choose an adjacent friendly character that wouldn't be hit by this attack and that is less points or shares a keyword. That friendly character instead becomes a hit target of the attack, even if it's already a target. Or would be an illegal target.
Okay. So is that an energy explosion kind of little bit of a clause in there?
Energy explosion is a little better as a result of this, if that's what you mean.
Yeah.
I though it's so weird, the whole like that wouldn't be hit by the attack. So like even if you're standing next to somebody who has a really high defense and they wouldn't become hit by the attack, then you can mastermind off onto them. But if their defense is low, you can't. It's weird. I mean, I get it. Again, functionally, I get it, but weird.
All right, but yeah, another important part is remember Precision Strike.
Yeah,
didn't say anything about this. Also,
Mastermind's incredible now. Get your Lex Joker duos out, ladies and gentlemen.
Also note when you're transferring it, you're transferring the entire attack to the character.
Yeah.
Right.
So if I transfer to a Mystics character, even though Mystics is kind of what it is.
What? It's way worse than it was before. What's wrong with you?
You're just not going to see it as much in this case because you're not, you're not. What am I looking for? Wild carding it onto other characters. We're going to get that
and also, nobody wants to leave themselves available to just be attacked, suffer Mystics damage, Mangog across the board, and then turn out to get a 150-point piece. So we definitely won't be seeing it ever.
Yeah.
Jay?
Yeah. I think this is kind of what we'd already seen in the new things. So we've had some time to stew on this, and I know me and Tom are super excited to try to Joker Lex duo with this. Mike, anything you were thinking of with the new Mastermind?
Oh, I kind of said it right at the beginning. I mean, it's interesting how it does make energy explosion a little bit better. But what does Jay have to say about
it? The actual Mastermind stuff is differently good, I suppose. I mean, energy explosions overall probably not as good competitively, so it won't really matter as much. But the only thing is, well, Precision Strike doesn't work anymore. It didn't work against the best character with Mastermind anyway, so it doesn't really matter as much for me. So
Precision Strike worked on Joker Lex. Next up, willpower. When this character is dealt pushing damage, you may choose to reduce that damage to taken to 0. Wow, that is so simple now. You either don't take pushing damage or you do. You don't have to worry about the word may anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Invincible. Reduce damage taken by 2. Can reduce penetrating damage. Takes a maximum of 3 damage at once. We looked at this in the past. We've had time to think about it. I like it for the simplicity of it. I like it for the reducing penetrating damage by 2, which means you do still have to deal 3 penetrating damage to get by this in the first place. No more of this 2 damage taking little bits out of my invincible guys. And go ahead, deal 7 damage to him. I'm taking 3.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So hard.
Yeah. All right. Unless anybody had anything to add to that, we'll move to the next.
Yeah, I already preferred Invincible to Impervious under old rules. Now it's like, I'm sorry, what's Impervious?
Yeah.
Impervious just happens to be on the dial when you get stuck with it. All right. Next up, Regeneration. Power. Roll a d6. Heal a number of clicks equal to half the result.
Great.
No, much better. Yep.
I like it a lot.
That was fan inspired.
Well, it was a fairly obvious option if you were going to change it, but all the same.
Well, when they put out the article about it earlier this year, everyone was like, "What the hell?" And there were two major revisions. That was one of them. The other one was minimum one kind of thing. Yeah.
Good for me.
Did we lose Jay?
Okay.
Jason?
No.
What's your thoughts?
Jason's waiting to complain about it, so he wants everyone to get their positive thoughts out of the way first, and then he'll complain about it. Jay, do you want to say anything good about it? before Jason says something?
It got a little bit. It got gained a little. Got a little taken away. It's I don't know. With the no prob, I feel like this was necessary. So as much as I really don't kind of like it, the fact that you couldn't get prob for it makes me prefer how it overall works in the game now a little more.
People who make games are bad, or who play games are bad game designers. Damage powers!
Oh, just because you've been doing it for a little while.
I just, guys.
It's just like I'm not a great comedian yet. Don't worry about it. It's all right.
A minimum 1 on regeneration where there's really nothing really, and healing is just already strong in this game. Even healing 1 damage we've seen just be a nightmare. I think I think a minimum of 1 at all times is too much. I just, especially with next to no downside afterwards, right? I mean, all you're doing is taking power action, getting between 1 and 3. It just seems too easy.
Takes into account the push to regen option.
All right, next up, range combat expert, power action. That's the same. Modify damage by +2, attack by +2, or both by +1. And I did that all out of order. Make a range attack targeting a single character, to be very specific with range combat experts, so you're not splitting your multi-bolt attacks.
Right.
Battle Fury. This character can't make range attacks, can't be carried, and has protected, incapacitate, mind control. When this character attacks, opposing characters can't use shape change. The same, just simply worded. And when you see it simply worded, my God, Battle Fury is strong.
It is very strong.
Yeah, great.
Oh man, is it strong?
My favorite orange power.
No. All right.
Not toughness.
Come on, leave quiet. What the heck?
I like what a backward slap that was.
I know, eh? All right, next up, support.
Oh.
Power action. Choose a single target adjacent friendly character. If this character and the target aren't adjacent to any opposing characters, roll 2d6. Add the result to this character's attack value, and if that is equal to or higher than the target's defense value, roll d6. The target is healed. That result -2, minimum 2. This is not an attack. They very specifically put that there for probability control, but we're going to note a couple things. Target's defense value. So whatever defense value they happen to be using. Right? So you can
I like
flex, you can propose attack.
It's great.
You can actually help support get easier without the use of prop.
Yeah.
I'm totally down with it.
Yeah.
Much more.
Anything you want to add there, Jay?
The fact that you needed 2 rolls to work kind of warranted a little bit of a buff. So, yeah, good job.
Yeah,
Well,
make healing better.
Here's the thing. If Regeneration was going to get as good as it is, support had to get better. Because support takes two possible rolls that could suck. All right. Next up, exploit weakness. Close. Make a close attack. Target is penetrating. There we go.
Sounds familiar.
Damage level is penetrating.
Fine.
Enhancement is attack adjacent friendly characters. Modify damage +1 by making a range attack. Same. Probability control. Here's a big change. And here's a change that had so many people reacting at first and then realizing maybe this is for the better. Probability control. Once per turn, you may reroll a target character's attack roll or breakaway roll. A targeted character must be within range and line of fire, minimum range value of 6. So it's not as good, but when we look at the percentage of what we actually use probability control for, I think this makes up the brunt of it, right?
Right.
Yeah. So overall, like all these powers that we used to kind of use off to the side, like Blade's Claws, Regeneration, Support, they got their little bumps. So we don't have to say, oh, I need prob to make that so strong. Now you just got to deal with what you get on these rolls because they are so kind of random.
Yeah.
Probability control, though, is still using what we used it for. Tom, you're going to jump in there.
I may have told the story on air before, but it's not really a story. It's actually like a sentence. But when I first started playing the game, we learned the game from the PAC, me and my buddy Paul, who were just playing together in our apartment. And it was a good, as tends to happen when you teach yourself from the rule book and you never play with anyone else who really knew Heroclix, we were getting some rules wrong. Not huge mistakes, but there were bits and pieces that we were just wrong on. And one of the big ones for us was probability control. We thought the probability control only worked once every round, as opposed to when everybody's player's turn. So in a way, we were thinking probability control is half as good as it really is. And we both agreed while we were learning the game, boy, probability control is massively overpowered, eh? Like, we thought it was too good when we thought it was half as good as it actually was. I'm really happy Prob got a nerf. It's been years coming. So, for me, I think it's a big improvement.
All right, Mike?
I think it makes it into a power that you don't necessarily need. You know what I mean? Like it's less required on a force in general because I mean most of us, well, 99.9% of the time you absolutely need it to prob on your force, and it's I think it takes it in that other direction. Plus, it makes the game faster.
I'm going to give Mike 15 years of my dice rolling before he says he doesn't need probability control anymore.
I've had a slump this year. This year has been a rough dice year for me, man. But, it happens. It's all right.
Still use it. It's still good.
Yeah.
That's why they made shredders for you, okay? Just use your damn shredders.
All right, Jay?
It speeds the game up. It's easier to understand. It just makes judges' lives easier. It makes everybody's life easier. So yeah, it's fine. They, like you said, they balanced out all the standard powers that use it, more or less. So yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. All right. Also very strong in battle royales, kids. Shape change. When this character can be targeted by an attack, you may roll a d6. On a 5 to 6, this character can't be targeted by the attacker this turn, and the attacker may choose a different target instead. So can't be targeted by the attacker. That'll be any other effects as well.
Yeah.
Wait.
That's crazy.
So everybody is that one Loki now, I guess?
Yep, and that one Loki is everyone.
Huh.
This character can't be targeted by the attacker.
Huh.
There's been some ambiguities of like, well, the next thing I'm doing to this character isn't necessarily an attack. It's not really targeting or whatever. I don't know. There's been some weirdness with shape change. Even I think might have made some bad rulings in regards to it. But there it is. Shape change. Close combat expert, same as we know it. Empower, same as we know it.
Yeah.
Perplex, free, minimum range value 6. Choose a target character within range and line of fire. Modify one of that character's combat values by +1 or -1 until your next turn.
Hooray!
Hooray!
This is a much needed change.
Here's the big one. Outwit.
This is the biggest one. The one we've all been talking about. Outwit.
So simply worded.
Free, minimum range value 6. Choose a power, standard or special, and a target opposing character within range and line of fire. The target can't use the chosen power until your next turn. I don't care if you choose Regeneration on my Toad. Does Toad have Regeneration? It might be a bad example. I'm not sure. But if it's not showing, it doesn't matter. If it
Toad, the X-Men villain?
Yes.
It's a grower, not a shower.
Outwit is strong now. We're all talking about it right now. A lot of people are looking at it saying it could help with the Jakeem problem. It's not necessarily the immediate answer. You're going to need a few of them.
A pity that he's the best outwitter in the game as well.
Yeah, exactly. He's the best outwitter, best with all the new equipment coming in Thor. But Outwit, the big change, I know I like it. I'm happy with it. And I think the only cause for issue this could lead to is when you get into the competitive play and I say, I outwit, you're invulnerable, that's fine. And you go to attack, you roll, he's going to roll for impervious. Like, oh, you had impervious. The rule said I could have done that. I can't take it back. Those kinds of situations are going to start to show up, right? Yeah. So, and Tommy gave me the eyes, but think about hour 8 of a massive tournament.
No, it wasn't that. It was just I couldn't quite follow your example. You mean when you say the wrong thing?
you say the wrong thing.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Yes, okay. But
if you say the wrong thing, it's on you now as a player.
All right.
So
fair.
note that if you're going into competitive play, when you're using Outwit, be clear, be sure you're aware. Maybe use the card just in case.
Get a Rob Fop, you know, pick a power thing for any given, like, you're going to need something like that, really.
Yeah. Just know what you're outwitting. And, anybody want to add on to that before we move on to the next one? Oh, there's a James. Hold on a second.
I'm tired of bleeding.
Sit back.
Quiet, man. The washroom.
Yeah, I'm gonna refresh my drink. Jay, you have something to say?
It's just way too good. This is ridiculous. It's already so easy to get outwit with one of the only two entities having it. Oh my god, it's just too much. We didn't need every character without wit to be Nick Fury, especially considering just how cheap it can be these days. It's like we have, what's his name, Dr. Killbrew, who's already so good at what he does, and he also happens to have outwit on top of all of that. It's just because outwit wasn't that good, it's as far as older game design, it became almost an afterthought. So there's just going to be so much of it, potentially.
Well, to be fair, that Jessica Jones can't use willpower with Earthbound anymore, so, you know, there's balance in this game.
Yeah. The other half of my sigh, I should clarify, is for the casual game, not for this show, but I just feel like it's been completely so unfun for the casual game. That's not a problem as far as our conversation goes.
All right, next up, leadership. And
it's better.
It's better. I was a little worried. I misread, and Mike read it properly earlier today. This is what happens when you're trying to alt-tab between work and reading the pack. At the beginning of your turn, for all characters that can use this power, action total +1. Doesn't matter how many you got. It's just +1 if you got leadership out there. I am looking forward to seeing what they do with that Wasp from Avengers Defenders War, because I hope that becomes action total +2. At the beginning of your turn, you may roll a d6. On a 5 to 6, remove an action token from an adjacent friendly character that has less points or shares a keyword. My only anger is that Leonardo is a bad leader and shouldn't be a good leader now.
Jesus. Forever a Donnie.
Yeah.
Read your Ninja Turtles comics, watch your Ninja Turtles cartoons. Nobody listens to Leonardo for good reason. Anyway, that said, I'm done my rant. Leadership's awesome now, guys. What do you think, Tom?
Really good.
Sorry, you cut out probably because of my terrible internet. What did you ask?
I said, leadership's awesome. What do you think? Do you agree, disagree?
Agree.
Mike?
Oh, yeah!
Jay?
It's fantastic. My only complaint is that free action.
Wait. Sigh first.
No. There we go.
Put a stamp on it.
It's a real episode now, guys.
Earn it, bro.
Go on,
Earn your complaints.
Yeah, so free action pick a power characters can't use it now, unfortunately, and that kind of sucks for that older game design, especially considering that the best pick a power character doesn't even care about any of the rules because Jakeem is just vanilla, no action beginning of the turn. But I hope that some of those get some errata because they said there's going to be errata, so hopefully that happens.
All right. Now, here's a really cool thing about this new pack. We are just on the top half, kids.
Ugh.
I'm not going to go over all of it. We're going to go through like some of the quick things. But my gosh, it's now a fourfold that a new player can basically fundamentally bring to the game and be able to understand what's going on more clearly now.
Yeah.
Way more so than the previous pack. It's a shame we still can't get the team abilities on it. I'm over it. But now we've got the inherent abilities listed on it, your basic move, basic close, basic range, your carry, which is your inherent carry based on smaller characters, close destroy action, range destroy action, object pickup, close object, range object actions. It gives a rarity chart on here for the love of goodness, so that you know how much whatever is beating on you cost.
Kind of random.
Improved abilities, elevated terrain, hindering terrain, water, blocking, outdoor blocking, breaks blocking, ignores characters, moves through and around character. Like the symbols are reduced because there's now, I think it was Amber put the number at 3 or 4 less. 4 less now. So there's a lot that just weren't getting used, and they're now gone. Yes. In addition, you got your key phrases: action total X or minus X. Breakaway plus. What's up?
Don't skip over the map terrain. The fact that they identified
I was going to get
doors.
there, Tom. I was going to get there.
I assumed you were going in order.
I was going to save the best for last, Tom. The map stuff, man.
Oh, okay.
All right, fine.
I'll show myself out.
Map terrain now. Map terrain's listed. You got your lines for hindering terrain, your lines for blocking terrain, your lines for elevated terrain, your lines for water terrain, starting areas, walls, indoor areas, obscuring terrain, windows, doors, and special rules. It's all in the rule book, I think. I haven't personally read through the rule book yet. That'll be the next thing where if we notice any particular game flow changes, we're going to discuss them next week. A notable change, the water symbol, swim. Moves through water, modified defense +1 against range attacks if the character occupies water. Swim is no longer a joke, kids.
Yeah.
They still think they could have done more, but yeah,
it's still a joke. Let's not kid ourselves. They're not putting water on maps anymore, but now you'll also note the key phrase. Some of the abilities are inherent to the thing. So you got colossal stamina comes with the colossal symbol, but not necessarily has to come with colossal symbol because we'll explain that later. So it explains colossal stamina in depth in here. Your indomitable character can use willpower. Note that's important because outwit works against indomitable because you're saying you can't use willpower. Immobile objects, it gives you a definition on it. It shows the passenger symbol. Also note that you can't carry flyers, and I believe flyers also get the passenger symbol 1.
Does how many people fit in the men's room?
Exactly. Passenger also gives a carry, which is part of the passenger, gives a -1 per character carried now.
Okay.
So sometimes if you have a passenger of 4, you're going to get like -3 to your movement because of the rule of 3, which is still a golden rule. Protected, characters can be targeted or damaged by these specified effects. Protected outwit very specifically says you can't use by outwit, but you can't use by other effects. Protected probability control, protected pulse wave are specifically outlined because of what they are. Specifically, protected pulse wave doesn't stop the damage. So, pulse waves can't be used, doesn't apply, or something like that. Yeah. RAM is in there. Like, there's so much in here now. It's super useful. So, keep an eye on these things. Unique modifiers, X. This effect can't be modified. We can't modify the specified combat value if there's already. If they are already modified by the same effect. Unique modifier will have a name, and that's how you know that works. Wildcards is what it is. I'm going to take a break, get myself back on the screen. I love this new pack. This new pack is beautiful. There's so much information on it that's useful and very quick reference. It's a one piece that you can carry around and have more than enough for what you want to go on it. So it's kind of my thoughts leading to this. Tom, your thoughts on the pack?
I agree. As much as I was kind of making fun as we were making our way along, I think it's great, and I like the fact that they've given so much more on what I can only assume to be the reverse side as sort of a quick rules reference. Because to be fair, as much as they've tried to streamline the rules with this particular latest edition, there's no such thing as really genuinely quick rules in Heroclix. In this case, 8 pages of the pack is as close as we can get to a quick rules reference, and if that's what it takes, that's what we got. So that's cool.
All right, Mike?
Now, is this in my head, and I have this wrong for some reason, but did they simplify destroying objects a little bit?
A little bit. Destroy objects is a specific action. You have to have the damage value of 3 or higher. Now, it doesn't say printed damage value, so you can like perplex it up or whatnot, but it's not an attack. So you're not using things like Blade's Claws. You're not using close combat expert to break walls anymore. You have to have the damage value coming.
Couldn't you kill?
You could. I don't think you could before. There's
not
just,
CC, but
it was an active attack originally.
You could Blades it. Like you used to be able to Blades it, but you couldn't CC it.
Yeah, you should close combat expert. So And
But
you
couldn't
can't
you
flurry
also-
walls. You could flurry a wall, then hit the guy on the other side of the wall if you happen to be beside the wall. So
Right.
that's no longer an option because you got to take an action to destroy a wall.
I kind of like the fact that flurry worked that way before, but didn't it used to cost didn't you need 2 damage to kill a light object before, or was that just
Nope.
No,
It
it's
was-
always been 3
no.
damage. For
So that always been 3 across the board. Okay, yeah.
You
Yeah,
did need 4 for an ultra heavy, so maybe
Yeah,
that's what you were thinking.
4.
Yeah.
But the ultra heavies don't exist. So.
Before we move on to Jay's opinions, I did, and Nathaniel, thank you in the Discord. God, this thing is so useful now. I did want to point something out, and I should point this out. I should not neglect this. Improved targeting, ignores blocking, breaks through. Once per ranged attack, this character can draw a line of fire through 1 piece of blocking terrain immediately after the attack resolves. Destroy that piece of blocking terrain.
That's not a very big change, though.
It's not a very big change. I'm just looking for a body bag to throw Tom in for that comment.
You're too far away.
It's funny that that's there because of the ID card. Other amazingly stealthy wording now. Cosmic Spider-Man doesn't really exist in the meta anymore, at least right now.
We'll see.
Yeah,
But you're right.
Until
Right
we find
now,
out about its real name differential, if it exists even. Yeah, I mean we've kind of lost that. But sorry, overall, your thoughts on the pack, Jay? While I'm getting
I like that they've managed to fit so much in there. Like once you've learned the basic rules, for all intents and purposes, or at least most of them, this is just almost a mini rule book now. Like there's just so much in here now.
Yeah.
Like how do wildcards work? Oh, it's right there. I don't have to flip through the whole rule book.
Yeah.
Like as a judge, like I don't see myself needing the rule book as much once everybody settles into the new rule book. It's like just most things are here now. So yeah, great job.
I heard the happiness in your sigh.
Yeah. It was a happy side this time.
It was. It was a.
Well, I mean, I think at least everybody on tonight does at least some degree of board gaming. I know that Jason, you do a fair amount of it, and so do I. And it's definitely a thing that we're all pretty much used to in that world of you read through the whole instruction manual, and often the back side of the instruction manual is your quick rules reference, so that 90% of the time you don't actually have to open the manual at all. And depends on the game you're playing, but that's often the case. And that goes to what you're saying, Jay, about the way the pack now is. The pack it does provide some information that's not otherwise in the rule book, but it reiterates enough information from the rule book that it should be your go-to for 90% of what you might need to know.
All right. Now, one quick thing. If you do happen to go on the rules section of the Heroclix website, you're going to see that there's 2 interesting little rule books there. One of which is the core rule book. And the other, if you skip over, there's a quick start rule for when you're training some new friends and how to play the game. There's a sequence card. If you don't quite understand how the sequence of movement or damage or attacks works, that's a nice little tool. There's also this neat little, noted very clearly here, this is mostly for you judges out there, the comprehensive rule book. Once you have a good, strong understanding of the rules, there's some extra stuff outside of the rules that you'll need to understand. The comprehensive rule book is your place to get that. So we're going to talk more about the core rulebook and comprehensive rulebook, more specifically any kind of changes that we catch in them next week. We're more or less focused on the pack and team abilities this week. Speaking of team abilities, I am so excited about this part of this, by the way, because my gosh, one of them changed and needed it so bad.
One of them changed, and I'm kind of sad about it, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. First up, DC team abilities. Batman ally is still stealth. Batman enemy. When this character makes an attack, you may replace its attack value with the printed attack value of an adjacent friendly character that can use this team ability. Important. Kind of like defend. You're just getting the printed back. Accumulated core can now just says passenger 8. So if you don't fly, you can carry a character up to 8 characters.
Good for wildcards.
Hyper time, I think it's still the same. When an opposing character that can't use his team ability attempts to move from a non-adjacent character into a square that is adjacent to this character, must roll d6. On a 1 or 2, this opposing character can't move into any square adjacent to this character that's turned uncopyable. Same thing, hyper time.
Yeah.
In Justice League, woo! When this character hits an opposing character with an attack roll of 10 to 12, after resolutions, remove an action token from this character.
Thank God.
Oh my God!
So much better, man.
Finally!
Yeah.
All right. This one I'm 50-50 on. Justice League. When this character is given a move action, modify speed by +1.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. But I'm more on the boat of the Avengers. Being
I was about to say it's the Avengers one that I really actually don't mind, but I like the fact that there was an odd TA option for, making more use of your swarm teams. But whatever. I mean, this definitely has its pluses too, so I can live with it.
Literal pluses.
Yeah. Justice Society. When this
He's a comedian.
Here's an important part of the Justice Society. When this character is attacked, you may replace this defense value with the printed defense value of an adjacent friendly character that can use this team ability. Was that the same as on Defend? I got to double check that. Because that's an important distinction. No, Defend may replace, so it still works with healers. Justice Society is specifically when you're being attacked.
Perfect.
Neat. That's
Kingdom. Kingdom Come. When this character would be hit by a range attack, if the attacker doesn't have the Kingdom Come team ability symbol, you may roll a d6 on a 5-6 evade uncopyable. You know what this power isn't? This power isn't super senses. So you know what this power doesn't care about? Precision strike.
Yeah, that's true.
Legion Superhero still a wild card. Outsiders, little change. Choose a character, including itself, within 6 squares and line of fire until your next turn. The chosen character's combat values can't be modified uncopyable.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm so glad it's not 10 range anymore.
Well, I just wish
it seemed like an oversight previously.
I wish.
What?
Or that's all.
Oh, sorry. You totally skyped out on all of what you just said.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
Okay. I wish. 6 for to do any more than 6 range.
You will not be heard.
Good night, everybody!
If you want to type it into the panel here, I can read it aloud for you.
I will do that. You guys go on.
All right.
Quintessence Willpower. This character has protected outwit uncopyable. So yes, your Quintessence and Power Cosmics are still protected by outwit, guys, or from outwit. Suicide Squad. When an adjacent friendly character is KO'd after resolutions, you may roll a d6. If you do, heal this character equal to the result -2, minimum 1. I think is that very similar, if not the same, Jay?
That's the same, just in Newspeak.
Okay, cool.
So Tom said, I wish if you had more than 6 range, it would allow outsiders for the full range.
I can agree with that.
So min 6. Yeah, that makes
minimum 6 would be nice, but
same as new TK, yeah.
I guess we're stuck with it. Superman Ally now is...
Yeah. Sorry.
Superman Ally, ignore hindering for movement, ignore hindering for line of fire. I'm so glad there's no longer distinction between those improved movement, improved targetings, and the Superman Ally and Avengers Initiative. My God, that was annoying.
It makes sense, but
it does.
I liked the loophole before.
Get it over it.
So the most commonly used Superman now just can't use his team ability because Muhammad Ali at the lower points has Earthbound. That's... I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh, yeah, Superman does have Earthbound, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he also doesn't have range, so I'm not too worried about it.
Right, but I just don't know if I like the idea that Earthbound just turns off your... I can kind of get where they're going with it. I think it's overall... It's clearer.
That's just one of the fringe pieces that it'll actually affect.
Well, Fringe is literally my middle name, so there you go.
That's the name of your article.
Jay Fringe Solomon? That's a terrible name. Your parents are just the meanest people in the world.
I know, right?
All right, next up, Superman Enemy.
It's Jay Herschel.
Superman Enemy, free. If this character is adjacent to a friendly character of lower points that can use this team ability, it can use Outwit until your next turn. So you trigger it, you're done, go. Titans, power action. Choose an adjacent friendly character that can use this team ability, heal a character 1 click, and roll d6. This character is dealt 1 unavoidable damage, the same as X-Men team ability. It's not changing at all. Avengers, when this character is given a move action, modify speed by +1. Yeah. Avengers Initiative, ignore hindering, ignore terrain for movement. Brotherhood of Mutants is now the same as the Injustice League.
That's cool.
I think that's cool. Interesting choice. There it goes. All right, Jay's probably going to say the same thing I was going to say. Go.
It's going to be a little confusing how this used to be the same as a bunch of others, but now entirely different.
Tom did want to point out before we move too far into the Marvel team, his favorite change was to the CSA team ability. Delete.
Sorry. Jay, your prompting is amazing. Oh, it's like you're letting air out of a bicycle tire. There it is.
All right. I also noticed these are in alphabetical order. So, defenders. When this character is attacked, you may replace his defense value with the printed value, so it's the same as GSA. Fantastic Four team ability now reads. Hydra team ability. When an adjacent friendly character makes a ranged attack, modify the target's defense value by -1 if the target is within range and within line of fire of this character. I almost said range. Line of fire is the only important part. Still the same. Masses of Evil, Colossal Stamina. Thank you.
Yeah. Good call.
Power Cosmic Willpower. This character has protected outwit, uncopyable.
Cool.
All right. So there's a syndicate. When this character makes an attack, you may replace his attack with the printed attack value of an adjacent friendly character that can use his team ability. Spider-Man, Wildcard, Shield, still the same thing. Power action and increased damage. Constant of adjacent friendly characters getting -1 or +1 range. X-Men team ability, same as the Teen Titans team ability. Here we go. Mystics. Each time this character takes a damage from an opposing character's attack after resolutions, deal the attacker 1 penetrating damage. Uncopyable.
Throttled.
Na. Tom taking a page from Jay's.
No, actually, I think it's a good change. In fact, the double nerf I think is both good. Penetrating and uncopyable. Mystics was cray. Now it's slightly less cray.
Single cray.
It's been reduced to solo cray.
It is no longer getting wild carded. I'm content with it.
Yeah.
All right. Police team ability, same as Hydra team ability. Snowfall is still wild card. This new one, Team Player, is wild card. We'll see when that comes in. Underworld got a slight change. It's a minor one. You have to pay attention to catch it. Underworld has Passenger 1, but only to carry a character that shares a keyword, or Passenger 2, but only to carry characters that share a keyword with this character and are lower points. So we no longer have to take an active move action in order to use the Underworld team ability. So yes, now all you kids who are sidestepping with the Underworld team ability to carry can do it.
You were already doing it, cheaters.
We're doing it, cheaters.
Who didn't at some point? Come on.
Jay, what do you think of the Underworld team ability? I know you. Wait.
No so side, you know those. So you know that one character in Modern that has it, that duo there. Remember how they were already so good in their new rules?
I wish they were better.
They needed the buff.
But it's not like they have sidestep.
Yeah. Don't they like? I wish they could sidestep twice.
I know, right? That would make them overpowered.
The only
Kenny is going to get away with murder with his 3-move sidestep.
I noticed that wasn't changed on the pack.
Oh, I got tears, guys.
All right.
Go
ahead, Jay.
I was gonna say we talked about wild cards a bunch here, but we didn't mention the big change that they got, or big 2 changes that they got in the pack. Those being that you don't lose it, like you keep it until you change it. So let's say you copy something, the character is KO'd, you still keep it until you change it. It's not like, oh, they KO'd, you lose it. And it's also, you don't get to do it infinite anymore. But I think those two things kind of balance each other out, so it's fine. I mean, you don't really need to wild card infinitely anyway. Most of the time, it's just it's fine.
Yeah. Good changes.
Okay. Oof. All right. So yeah, overall, and this is just the pack. The pack is. I can't believe how much we've already gone over with the pack. There's more to go over with the comprehensive rules. More specifically, there's some major changes to ID cards that we need to discuss, but we're going to discuss them next week because Tom and Mike are on a schedule. Mike is already way over time. I'm surprised he's still here. I thought he was going to turn to a pumpkin at 10:30. So
I got way too into the sighing.
Side game is on point. Everybody wants it.
It is. It's true. Yeah, I think
that's all I'm good for.
Your size are on fleek.
They're on fleek, as the kids say. Oh, hey, where did the Skrulls team ability go?
Yeah, where did it go?
To the same place as the CSA and the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Well,
And the Morlocks.
What is this open pit with fire at the bottom? Let's put them there, see what happens. Oh my goodness. All right. I'm just trying to pull up some of the previews from Mighty Thor that we got this week. I'm trying to remember what we got this week. Let's talk about the most recent one. I hope Amber put it up on our Facebook page.
She did.
She did. Okay, cool. Because I can't see it. There he is. There he is. And I like talking about these things because these are figures earned, ladies and gentlemen. Patrick Iboko's World Championship winning figure, Beta Ray Bill. Comes with the Annihilators as Guardian, Omega Flight, Cosmic Robot, and Warrior. Keywords. Real name is Beta Ray Bill, but that might not matter soon. Wielder of the Stormbreaker. Beta Ray Bill starts the game with Stormbreaker equipped. Guess what, kids? We found out something interesting about this. Starts with it equipped. You don't have to pay for it.
I think that was implied, wasn't it?
It was kind of implied, but it was clear.
Yeah, but it wasn't. Yeah.
It was written nowhere. You know what I mean? Also, doesn't count towards your object collection for your team. So Stormbreaker, which we're going to talk about later a little bit, is a heavy object. It does not take from your heavy object pool. He's got Corbinite DNA. Beta Ray Bill can reduce penetrating damage. Aided by Scuttlebutt is his defense power. Stop. Regeneration toughness. When Beta Ray Bill is given a move action after resolutions, he can use regeneration at no cost. I want to point out, too, when he has that power, he's got 10 movement with phasing. And then he's got a special damage power, which he has intermittent throughout his dial. Weather manipulation. Probability control. Opposing characters can't target Beta Ray Bill or friendly characters adjacent to him unless they began their turn within 4 squares of their target or are making a close attack. Tom, what do you think of Beta Ray? Oh, wait. Let's talk about his tool, Stormbreaker.
Your tool.
Effect. Energy explosion, quake, modify range by +2, point value is 10. All right, Tom, what do you think of Beta Ray Bill and Stormbreaker now that we know he's got energy explosion to go with this?
I think he's real good. I mean, his range is really quite short, but obviously the +2 range from the hammer helps that out quite a bit. Otherwise, you know, there's something to be said, of course, for the fact that his weather.
Oh, there he goes again.
Short range. It would be kind of crazy if he had a range of like 8 and that weather manipulation power. So this guy smacks of intelligent design. Because of the fact that you've got that little bit of balancing there, but you've got the hammer in play to give you just that little bit of extra. And of course, he's got some solid movement on his running shot or charge clicks for swing. Bit rich, I think. I can see it. Like it's not like it's overcosted at that point, but it'll be. It's hard to imagine that being used competitively. Considering just what a massive investment 225 really is in the competitive game these days. But I think at 125, certainly with a stop click in addition to all the other cool stuff he's got, and if you want to if you wanted to push him, you can push him on to 3 damage close combat expert, still holding an object potentially. There's something to be said for that. And of course, I do love the fact that he can phase away, regenerate back, and there's nothing about that stop click being once per game.
That's right. Yeah.
To combine your efforts against him. So I think, you know, really interesting and intelligent design. I think, well, I'm looking forward to it as much as I'm sure I'll never own it.
See, players can design figures. They can't design rules. Mike.
Jeez. Yeah, real good. He's very good, especially with that free equipped hammer. Holy crap. I'm very impressed with this design overall. And have been with his previous figures as well. I like the lower points better than the upper points, just because I like having more than one figure on a team. Just generally speaking, there's a few other reasons too, and the single target Quake is going to be pretty cool for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Jay?
Yeah, I feel like he's going to be just on the cusp of playable, which is my area of expertise. So I like him a lot.
Jesus.
I feel like he's just generally too expensive for the game at full points, but he's more of a casual play, especially because that lets you get in closer. But 125, you can call in pretty much all the stuff that you need to, and if you can set him up with a carry, because that works now, you can just go anywhere and do some good call-in stuff with him, and have plenty of room for other stuff. So, yeah, and I like the attention to keywords. So that's three named or two named, and then just a whole bunch of generic. So, yeah, great work on the design overall.
Yeah, this is definitely a work of love. You can see that this is a character Patrick really liked, really wanted to get a good representation for, and
what a sculpt, by the way. If it looks like that, holy mackerel, that's a good looking piece.
Yeah, it's a beautiful little piece.
Yeah, and yeah, this is a work of love from a player who's definitely enjoys the character, knows what the character is all about, and just wanted to make a figure that represents that character. So yeah, very, very cool version of Beta Ray Bill. And then I'm just trying to go through what we got here to work with. Did we talk about Thunderball yet?
I don't think that we've talked about him on the air.
Okay, and Suture are the other ones we got to talk about, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. Sorry for the lack of professionalism. I was super excited about all these rules. Wasn't sure if we were going to get everything. In fact, you know what? We're going to talk about the previews next week. Sound like a good idea?
Sounds great to me.
We got a lot of fan questions, I'm sure, today. And I don't have a lot of time with you guys. So we're going to try to go through them as fast as we can, but we do have the lengthy ones of the Facebook variety, which we always have to adjust or have to deal with. You guys, also, if you want to get some more out of us and you want to support us a little bit more, check us out at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. Check out our patron-only Discord. We are usually trolling, talking about things on a regular basis. I have a semi-regular thing I'm going to try to do called the lightning round, where you guys ask me a bunch of one-word questions or questions that you want one word out of me and I will go ahead and answer them. Make them as trolly as you want. I really enjoy it. And that's everybody on the Patreon program. So from $1 up, you get access to the Patreon Discord and access to our brains on a regular basis. I usually have it on my phone, so I do get pings from you guys when you do ping us on the Discord. And of course, there's other options that you have that are really out there. So check it out, patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. All right, let's get to the questions here, guys. And the first one in chronological order requires the stamp of approval on this episode, guys. Chris Trockhouse has a question. It's an episode. All right, he says, Happy Eclipso Day. See what you did. May he possess all your Jakeems. Unless, of course, you want to give Jakeem some of the new Thor objects. Stop it. I'm sure you guys probably read on the Clixed Facebook about some of the players' opinions about the new scoring rules tried out at Gen Con. Does the lab have any potential adjustment ideas to make it better? Would you prefer to keep scoring like it was before Gen Con? How do we manipulate the scoring rules to help us stop PJ from winning everything? Well, in order to stop PJ from winning, you got to break his hands so that he can no longer play this game. Steal all dice within 20 meters of him. But then even he'll be able to use his opponents. Steal all of his figures. Burn his house down. You just can't stop him. He's unstoppable force is what I'm trying to get at, and I'm getting extreme on this. So PJ's awesome. Extreme! As far as the Gen Con and the point system right now, I think the complaints about point manipulation, et cetera, and turtling, as it were, are on a small percentage of games and don't really reflect on the game itself. And I don't think a new point system is really required for the game right now. The system we have is very good at solving the ties between players with similar records. The problem with this new system, and this is the one that burned me, there is a chance, though it may not happen, but it's possible to happen, that someone with a 4-1 record has a worse standing than somebody with a 3-2. And that in any tournament play, in any game play is unacceptable, in my opinion. Sure. Wins have to count. And wins have to count first over everything. And then everything else beyond wins is in order to solve the tiebreaker. This is just how it works. It's how games work. And the fact that Heroclix has a point system that's inherently useful towards getting a easy decision on who deserves a better tiebreaker is great. We could use systems that exist right now, such as the strength of schedule, and that's fine. That means wins matter, but then whoever you lose to, how they do matters after that to determine things after that fact, which means your quality of opponent matters for a certain degree. I still think Heroclix system of the points right now is great, and I don't think a lot of what might be considered a problem is actually a problem in any case. That's my thoughts. Tom?
Yeah, I first of all, I definitely agree. For me, and if a Heroclix rules.
Oh, Tom, you're cutting out so hard.
Can't hear me, I'm guessing.
No, we've got none of that. I'm not even sure if you agreed with me.
I did. We'll leave it at that, and I'll talk to you when my internet improves.
All right. Mike?
I agree with you as well.
All right, cool. Jake?
In addition to agreeing with you, it's worth mentioning that PJ had mentioned somewhere that he talked to the WizKids employees that were there, and they said this is basically not necessarily a thing they were going to use full-time, but more just an occasional thing, so nothing to worry about, really.
All right, then I'm not worried about it. But yeah, honestly, I don't think the new system makes any amount of sense. Is really my opinion on it. So he also, Chris does ask a second question because he asked this question too early. So here's the second one: which team ability change are you most looking forward to using? Any particular characters in mind for the new changes? Happy reading. CSA, I love that change. I took Tom's joke.
Yeah, no, well, even my joke is just all the changes I like are nerf-based, and so they're not based around people I do want to use. They're people I'll be glad not to see used as much. So that's a tricky one to answer.
I do like the Injustice League, though. I've always wanted to make teams with Injustice League characters, and I look at that team ability, and I say, I don't want to pay for that.
Yeah, why is that in the point equation?
I guess the answer is Joker Lex, though, again.
There it is. Mike?
Yeah, same. Joker Lex, yeah. Justice League, what? Goddamn! All right.
Jay?
What isn't better about Joker and Lex now?
Nothing.
Nothing. All right. Next up, RJ Tannenhill. This is a new question asked here. Happy Eclipse Day. I got two questions. I'm just tumbling on the word eclipse. First, I'd like to know what you guys think is the best rules change and what is the worst. Second, why do you think that you, married with Clix, or even Scott Porter, haven't been able or isn't doing a Mighty Thor Clix unboxing? Do you think that WizKids have some major figs in the set that they don't want to spoil till the release date? Also, I haven't heard any pre-release. Why? Okay, there's a number of things. First of all, the pre-releases, pricing has always been an issue with those lately, and I just don't feel like they felt that they're necessary. Plus, they also did this whole stores are getting previews. One thing you'll note is the previews that we're getting, in a lot of cases, are coming from store Facebook pages or individual stores. So WizKids isn't running a lot of the previews right now. They're throwing out as many previews as they can to other stores. Secondly, as far as the unboxings are concerned, there's something to do with the rules, which is why they're not out yet. They wanted the rules out first before the unboxings got released. So there's your reason, kids. So those are your fact-based reasons. And then what do I think is the best rules change, and then the worst rules change? A lot of people I roll my eyes at Regeneration. I don't think it's the worst rule change. I just roll my eyes at it. Because the worst rule change is poison.
Yeah.
I need my no roll damage. The best rules change is definitely outwit. Giving us something to deal with the possessing, choosing power kind of dealy thing. It's just been needed. So that's my thoughts on it. Tom?
The best and
worst. Best and worst. But I don't know what it is, Tom.
the best
I
and
don't know what it is, Tom. Just write it in the thing, and I'll read it out.
okay.
Oh man, Tom got his internet fixed last week too.
Yeah. Yeah. Best and worst, eh? I think that the best rules change is outwit. This is me talking, not Tom. And and I really like the simplicity of that they've added, or simple language regarding pulse wave and the no area of effect thing, because that always screwed people up. And caused conflict or tension of some kind or another. And the worst thing is poison, of course. I agree with Jason.
Tom wrote in the chat here that Outwit is both the best and the worst change. And Tom's internet right now is being absolutely terrible. So we're going to say goodnight to Tom for the night. Unfortunately, we won't be able to stay through the questions. And I want you to hit your router with a hammer.
I will do that for you all. May we all have fun in the new world of Clix. I hope you heard that. Good night, everybody.
We did.
That came through, of all things. That came through.
Oh, man.
All right. Jay?
As far as I think I feel like Prob is the best, because the thing with Prob and the standard powers that it worked with is that it was always a matter of you having a thing in your favor potentially and your opponent potentially having one in against you. So the fact that they made Prob, or the powers that relied on Prob in the past better, balances the fact that it doesn't do those anymore, and also the fact that it makes games faster and quicker and easier, considering how ubiquitous the power can be sometimes. The worst change, I also want to say Outwit. I feel like instead of making Outwit just that good, they could have just toned the game design of Pick a Power down instead, or something.
People love it, though.
This kid loves genies. You can't say no to Robin Williams.
Never had a friend like me. All right. Michael Fedor, Patron Alpha. Is it just me, or by comparison to the Mighty Thor set reveals, is WizKids slow rolling the monster set coming out soon? Seems like only a few we know about thus far. Funny thing is, that's like a 12-figure set. So if we got figures at the pace that we got the Mighty Thor, we'd see the set. So that's really the difference, and that's a full fact thing. Next up, Stephen Clark Jr., why did they change Mystics from unavoidable to penetrating damage? I found it on WizKids rules site under team abilities. The reason that they changed it from unavoidable to penetrating is to make Invincible that much stronger. They didn't want to hear any more complaints about Mystics, and because let me tell you, if you introduce a new player into the game and they run into the Mystics team ability, it's the most obnoxious thing they've ever come across in their life, because you did all this work to do damage to that guy, and all I did was damage you and you damaged me back. That's enough. So penetrating is so that it can be penetrated, or it can be stopped by things like Beta Ray Bill, like Invincible. Luke Cage can actually do something against Mystic's damage. That's one of the main. I think that's the big reason. I'll let you guys chime in on that, though. What do you think, Mike, is the reason they did that?
I think that it really needed that. So that there was something. I mean, they wanted to simplify things so there wasn't any damage ignorer, right? Because people are getting confused between reducer and ignorer, and so they needed to make it so that something could stop it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Jay.
Yeah, basically all that, and the fact that it can't be wildcarded anymore just makes it so you can't have a Spectre and just a million Spider-Mans or whatever. And it's also doubly good because, because now, like I had mentioned before, the character getting KO'd doesn't matter. So if you could play a Mystics character and a bunch of wild cards, killing the Mystic wouldn't have done anything. So yeah, I think they overall did a very good job, and it's more balanced now.
All right. Next, Benjamin Mata, and I'm now out of chronological order because I'm trying to speed up a bit. Question: it's the end of calling characters with real name, or is it just a slip in the ID rules? I don't know yet. I can't say anything on that. I don't think any of us can really say anything.
We can say for certain.
Kids clarifies that. That is, of all these fantastic new clear rules, that is the only edge case that I'm like, does this mean? And it's not even an edge case as much as, so does the old rule wording based on the real names not matter anymore? And that's all I need to know. And if that's the fact, I'll adapt. It's a minor thing. I loved my Cosmic Spider-Man while I used it. I'm over it.
Well, they did say they were that's a retired mechanic now, real names. So, but they also did say whatever is around that has it still has it. So it's a little up in the air.
If they're retiring the mechanic of the real name, then yeah, guess what? We'll buy Cosmic Spider-Man. Cool, done. And then, you know, I mean, shield level 7 and level 1 still work the same way because they're a different case specifically. There's no shield level 7 character. All right, Mike Bockley, hello, Metal Lab members. With the new rules, pack, and team ability changes that have been officially announced, do you think that we're what do you think are the changes or additions you're the most interested in? Example: obscuring terrain, the update to ID cards, the changes to team abilities. I like the update to ID cards personally. The idea that I don't have to specifically wait for the beginning of my turn. You know what? The image of the beginning of the turn taking 3/4 of my turn, I think was bad for the game. Just making them an action as part of my turn now, I'm okay with that. I think that's actually a very fantastic mechanic in general. Mike, your thoughts on it?
I missed that question, actually. I kind of cut out for a second. What was the question?
It's okay. With everything that we've seen, what's the most interesting mechanic between all the changes or new mechanics that have been introduced?
New mechanics. Most interesting. Come back to me in a second. Go on, Jay.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to actually seeing how the whole turn phases thing plays out, just because I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And that had definitive turn phases. And I also feel like teaching new players is going to be much better when you're like, okay, so there's the beginning of the turn, but you can't use the sidestep, poison, TK call, and all that stuff anymore. So actually being able to get players to understand what the beginning of the turn is and is supposed to be, looking forward to that.
Yeah. You know,
I'm really looking forward to seeing more new players in general because of the reduction in learning curve. That's probably my favorite thing as someone who runs tournaments.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that that effect does get seen. Right. Hey, we blew through the. Oh no, one more on the Facebook. Thunderstrike or Beta Ray Bill. Also, what power change do you think will make the biggest impact on the metagame, and what characters will affect them? I think we covered that part of it. But Thunderstrike or Beta Ray Bill, guys, what do you think? Jay.
Beta Ray Bill for sure.
Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a soft spot for Patrick.
I mean, I like Thunderstrike a lot though, because I actually read the comic when I was a kid.
I read the Eric Masterson Thor run for a good part of my early tweens, as it were.
It's a good thing we're getting him too as Thor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I neglected the chat and didn't realize. Holy smokes, you guys have been busy in there today, at least compared to normal. All right.
There's 3 questions.
Oh no, there's like 5 or 6 actually. David Kalan, how excited are you for the new rules? Super excited. Mike.
Yeah.
Jay.
I have a humongous headache from reading through all of it, but I'm very much looking forward to it.
Honestly, I'm really glad he said the word headache. Sneaky Brick, with Pulsewave's new wording, including printed value, does this have the unintended effect of protected Pulsewave energy shield not work?
What?
Oh, if your energy shield has protected Pulsewave, the can't use effective Pulsewave won't work against you. So, if your I get what he's saying. Let's say your power has protected Pulsewave, also happens to grant energy shield. Does that mean Pulsewave's going to get around that? And part of that is you can't use powers and abilities won't be triggered by the Pulsewave, so you're still going to get your energy shield the long and the short of it.
Yeah. If that fringe thing happens, yeah.
Old rules for shape change. The attacker could not attack that character again this turn to. Sorry. What is normal damage, and does Blades still work with exploit weakness? I love that a lot of these are just straight up fact questions. Blades Claws, how's it worded now?
I believe Blades and Exploit still works, because Blades is basically just a carry on.
Would deal normal damage with a close action. That combination still works. Because it's triggered by the way you're attacking. All right. Next up. Wait, is normal damage not penetrating damage? Do they have it defined on this pack here? This normal damage is a new key phrase that I
don't think it's in the pack.
Yeah,
it's probably in the rulebook. Yeah.
All right, we'll take a look into that. Pedro Roca. Jock, he's got multiple questions. You sneaky little bugger. Do you still calculate pulse wave's range the same way, or is it plain replace and modify now? It's half range. That's a replacement. So I guess, yeah, it's replace and modify now. Is damage depletion gone? From what I've been hearing, damage depletion is not in the rulebook anymore. So it sounds like it's gone. Is shield level 7 ID dead now, or do you think it might be errated? Shield level 7 and shield level 1 never worked on the name system. Why do we not understand this, people? All right. So yeah, it's either going to be errated or clarified. Everybody, calm them. Memories. Seabrick, are you sure the Steel Energy doesn't work with Flurry? Flurry's wording says when this character hits with a close attack, when this character hits with a close attack, there should be a trigger after actions resolved.
By the way,
well, yep.
Sorry, I just found this. Normal damage dealt from an attack using the attacker's calculated damage value is called normal damage. Normal damage can be penetrated. It can be penetrating. See page 16. This is in the regular rules book, not the comprehensive one. Page 16, penetrating damage. Or damage may be divided up, but is still normal damage. Some attacks don't deal normal damage and use the phrase instead of normal damage. You deal the specific amount of damage or apply the specified effect instead of dealing the attacker's damage value to the targets. That's what normal damage, the key phrase, is defined as.
There we go. So yes, it does still work with exploit weakness very quickly. I didn't think it was going to be in core. I thought that was going to be in the core, but I still have to read the core and the comprehensive. I've only
comprehensive does not have it. It just deals with the extra shit.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, we're not sure about the Flurry Steel Energy interaction, but based on the way it reads, you're only getting the one. Can we talk about Eclipse? Just because the Eclipse, no other reasons beside that. I think we mentioned Jakeem in a conversation. Jakeem comes with Eclipso. Jakeem Supreme comes with Eclipso and Supreme Intelligence. Are we all good with that conversation? Yeah? Jay? Yeah? All right, cool. I'm trying to lightning my way through the chat here. We managed to actually blast through that very quickly. Way to go, guys. Oh, man. So, guys, thank you very much for joining me. Guys, thank you in the chat for watching us live. Thank you for watching us in the archives. I want to take a second to thank our sponsors at hcrealms.com, your one-stop for all things Heroclix. That isn't necessarily the rules yet. Check out their units section. It is one of the most important tools for a Heroclix player, especially if you're looking to build teams. Look at that. I was talking about my team that I built the other for the Quebec tournament, or maybe my new version for the Canada Cup. So you'll see you can add the figures to it, and it'll calculate your values. You have to do next to no work. All of it's there. You don't have to go fiddling through your cards and figuring it all out. If I wanted to add an Oliver Queen Templar to my team, look at that. Boom. It's on there. Very, very wonderful site. It's got your forums for keeping up with the conversation in the game. Looking for a rock tournament? Check it out here. Hey, speaking of an important upcoming rock tournament, the Rock World Cup is coming up October 13th to the 15th. There's another one that's coming up, and if you want to find it, you check out these rock. Where is it? There's major events somewhere. I'm totally all major events. Check that out. It opens up a Google Doc, and you find the date, and I believe something around September. September 16th, Canada Cup at 401 Games in Toronto. Still. Yep. Awesome. So that's going to be September 16th. More details will follow next week. We're going to spend a lot more time on that. Mostly tomorrow. Next week's rules recap will just be major changes anyway. So check them out at the hcrealms.com. And while you're there, check out the shop section of the site. Put in the coupon code MARRIED for 10% off of your purchase. We are also brought to you in part by MajesticCCG.com. Check them out at MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders. At $3 a month, you get insights from some of the greatest minds in the game of Heroclix. You'll get tournament reports from players who recently won tournaments. You'll get ideas from players. Clicks of the week from Diego Pinto de Luz. You'll get winners recaps from Paris, characters like Adam Friedman, PJ Bolin, AJ Pfeiffer's got this Rock Age Primer. Easton's a regular contributor. I'm a semi-regular contributor. Check out the free site. You'll get some stuff from Amber or myself. The Hammer is Mightier is Amber's newest rules section update. So we got regular contributors to the site, some great minds. $3 a month is a bargain. You also get some access to some of the cool stuff for free. Check it out while you're there. Can't stress that enough. It's really, really great. But yeah, Mike, anything to say on the way out?
Not really. I mean, come down to 4-1 games this Sunday. We will have a new rules tournament, 300 modern.
All right, Jay, anything?
Please, everybody, read the new rule book cover to cover.
Yeah, please familiarize yourself, because we would like to answer questions, but as few of them as possible.
And if you read this rule book with these very simplified versions of the rules, you'll get a good idea. And you know what? Not just about reading those rules. You want to get some practice with those rules, because your teams are going to change with these new rules, and something's got to make those teams better, and that's going to be practice. Because practice
makes
your
team
better.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you very much for watching us live and in the archives.